This is Lorenzo, and this is the Training Routines Taxonomy video series, lesson number 13. It's on the 9th routine, the lean track, which is a gymnastics routine focused on core development, but emphasizing the lateral chain. And it's been designed to help you master one of the 30 fitness benchmarks, specifically the side lever, also known as the human flag. And we're going to do that using the MSP exercise protocol framework. Only 5 exercises. See you inside. The lean track is the fourth and final core chain routine in our core chain series. Starting on our left, we can see the routine type that we're dealing with is a track, which means it's a gymnastics routine. And as I said, it's on core development, focused on the lateral chain. Whereas the racetrack was helping us develop compression strength in the abdominals, the bridge track was all about helping us develop extension strength and power, focusing on the posterior chain. The lean track is going to help us to develop spinal lateral flexion strength as well as spinal horizontal rotational control. To the right of our matrix, we have our exercise protocol, which we know an exercise protocol is only as good as its ability to fulfill its objectives. And in order to have clearly stated objectives, it needs a training plan. The lean track has one and only one objective, and that is to help you achieve or make progress towards the side lever, also known as the human flag. For the recreational male athletes, your goal or the standard is to hold this position for 12 consecutive seconds. And for the girls, once you can get into your side lever position, is to hold it for 6 seconds. The side lever requires very basic spinal lateral flexion and horizontal rotational mobility. It also requires spinal anti-flexion and anti-rotational stability. And finally, we need spinal lateral flexion as well as horizontal rotational strength. We therefore have to make sure that whatever exercises we select for our protocol, that they fulfill these requirements. We will need an open training zone for our mobility and stability work, as well as a stall bar with a mat. Okay, so with our objective and our strategy in mind, and we have our tactics in place, you guys have your stall bars installed, we're finally ready to see what the MSP exercise protocol framework looks like as it applies to the lean track. So for our first 2 exercises in the mobility category, serving as our warm-up, we have for our first exercise an open hip side hang, followed by the closed hip static twist. In the stability category, following the 60-second rule. For our third exercise, we have the side plank. And for our fourth exercise, we have the side lever itself, as well as its progressions. And for the fifth and final exercise in the strength category, following the 30-rep rule, we have the full range side arch. We start our routine with the side hang. The side hang, as we see it over here, is a lateral or lat and oblique stretch. We're trying to get into a position that gives us the maximal stretch on the side. And the way we do that is by gripping overhead while rotating the hips inward until we feel a maximal stretch that we will hold for 1 to 2 minutes each side. Once complete, we will move on to the second exercise, our static twist, as we saw it in the run complex. The static twist is a spinal rotational passive stretch. We will start in a supine position, bringing our legs out to a 90-degree angle. We will hold down with our one hand so as for the knees not to drift apart. We will then use the arm as a lever arm to twist the torso and hold this position until the back of the hand touches the ground, which roughly takes 3 to 5 minutes, depending on your spinal rotational mobility. Together, the side hang and static twist, which are very enjoyable exercises, making up our mobility complex, shouldn't take us longer than 10 minutes to complete. And its purpose is to help us fulfill the minimum spinal lateral flexion and horizontal rotational mobility requirements for more efficient side levers. Moving on, as for the third exercise in our routine and the first stability exercise, we have the side plank, which we will hold according to the 60-second rule. Once in the side plank position, we want to emphasize maximum lateral flexion to the extent that we can and hold this for 1 minute straight per side. After completing our side plank, we will then move on to the fourth and the main exercise of this routine, the side lever itself. We will start with a progression known as the block press, as you can see it over here. The block press is the first progression that we will practice on our side lever journey. As you can see, we need a stall bar, and you want to get into a position where you have enough distance where you can comfortably pull down with the one arm, push down with the other, just enough to push you off the ground, as you can see here. And then what you'll find is that your body wants to naturally rotate inwards. You have to exert an opposite rotational force to hold yourself in this position, which will put maximum emphasis on the obliques. Your goal is to be able to hold the block press position for 30 seconds on each side before moving on to the next progression. But remember, the 60-second rule still applies, which means that you have to accumulate a total of 60 seconds regardless of the progression that you're on. For example, let's say you can only hold 5 seconds per side at a time. You'll then have to do 12 sets of 5 seconds to accumulate your total 60-second requirement. But as you get stronger, and you have to be patient, your 5 seconds will go to 10 seconds, and then 15 seconds, and then 20 seconds. And so you'll do less and less sets as well. And then eventually you can go to the second and third and fourth progression until you're finally at the full side lever. Together with the side plank, which shouldn't take us longer than 10 minutes to complete, helps us to fulfill the minimum spinal, anti-flexion, anti-rotational stability requirements that we need to help us make progress towards and one day even achieve the side lever. Once we're done with our side lever practice, which is the main focus of this routine, we still have one important exercise left that we need to focus on as a supplementary strengthening exercises of the obliques, and that is the full range side arch, which we will practice according to the 30 rep rule. The side arch is a shoulder abduction and spinal lateral flexion strengthening exercise, which not only helps us to develop the obliques, but it also is going to help us develop the anti-lateral flexion stability we will need to hold the side lever in place. Your goal is to do 30 reps any way you see fit, following the 30 rep rule. You can do 1 set of 30 straight, 2 sets of 15. You can do 3 sets of 10, 5 sets of 6, 6 sets of 5, or you can do 10 sets of 3. For the beginners, we recommend you start with 5 sets of 6. So you'll do 6 reps on the one side, 6 on the other, 5 times. The following week or weeks, as you get stronger, you can do 3 sets of 10 on each side, 2 sets of 15, and maybe even one day, 1 set of 30 straight on each side. So in summary, the lean track is a side hang followed by the static twist, a side plank, the side lever itself and its many progressions, and then finally 30 side arches on both sides.